Hello, this is Ron from JoaraCrafts, and today I'll be doing a guide on how to make the Shimmering Twilight dice set. For that dice set, we will be using this Galaxy mica powder, which is also known as a Chameleon mica powder, and this is the Galaxy color. Fancy names, of course. And what this color is, it's a bit of a mix between red and blue. It's got these like shimmering crystals that make it glitter blue in the light. And the cool thing about Chameleon mica powder is that the dice will have a bit of a reflective surface, but only if you use the mica powder in the mold. So the way I've been doing these dice is by grabbing a tiny bit of mica powder and dropping it into the mold, just like that. And it's quite a bit of mica powder in there, possibly a bit on the wasteful side, but the effect is extraordinary. So in the Entangle dice set and others that I've tried before, I usually use a brush to just put the mica powder all over the place. But for this one in particular, we cannot use a brush, otherwise the crystals will not be there anymore. So just make sure that you have a good coverage. And the next step is quite fun and simple. You just want to close the mold. Make sure that it's closed across all over. So just make sure that that it's all matching. And then you want to shake the mold. Make sure that you're shaking it and covering all the surfaces. So sideways, up and down and all that. And that should give it a nice enough coverage across all sides. You'll notice that there's going to be some chunks that have a bit more dust on it, like you can see that there on the D4 in the one. There's some dust there. The best way I can tell you to do is just shake it off or try to get rid of it somehow into either another mold or something like that. And make sure that you're in a ventilated area. You don't want to smell any of this. So yeah, it's mica powder, it can be quite nasty for you. But yeah, that's basically it. Just clean it up and you'll be done or ready for resin pour. This looks about right in terms of mixture. There's gonna be bubbles, don't worry about those. The pressure pot will mostly handle them. I'll move things aside so I can show you the color difference. We're using this mauve. I don't know how to pronounce this word. Mica powder, which is a sort of like Bordeaux color, like this wine red sort of tint. Although the mica powder in the mold is going to be the most prominent color. Whoops, that is a bit of a shame there, it went flying. Although this is the color that the dice will mostly contain is the one that's around the mold. This one will help it retain a bit of the color. That is why I'm still using a bit of a similar color to the mold. It's a bit of a red, dark red mica powder, and this actually helps retain the color a bit more evenly, and it's gonna influence. Even if you weren't to use a bright yellow, the dice would definitely look very different. Mainly if you decide to sand, which is always going to lose a bit more of the mica powder around it. This will definitely at least help retain that color in the end. And there we go, that's how it looks like after the resin and the mica powder. And the next. Still shiny, still very red, but also sort of dark and purplish. It's a very nice color actually. And let's pour it in the mold then. Doesn't seem like there's any big bubbles around the numbers here at least. So I'll just pop the larger, or the bubbles that are coming to the surface. I've noticed that most of the times you can still see some bubbles on the camera. I don't see that many bubbles that concern me at least, so I think this is ready to be capped and placed in the mold. I'd like to start with the rectangular key, and then I will just squish. And that's it. Ready to be placed in the pot. And this is how they turned out after removing them from the pressure pot. They are mostly fine, they just need to be sanded a tiny bit in some corners. But besides that, they're good to go. And you can see their shine. Alright, let's get to sanding them. Now that the dice are smooth and shiny, we can start painting. For this dice in particular, we use Canoptech alloy to paint it. As usual, you can be quite messy and just clean up with your fingers. The excess paint will come off. So don't worry too much if you paint outside of the number. Just wipe it off and it'll be fine. After painting the numbers and removing the excess, you can tell that there's still a tiny bit of leftover paint. This can be removed by wiping it off with some alcohol and rubbing in with some microfiber cloths. In my case, I just usually dab a Q-tip on some alcohol and then rub the excess paint off until the face is clean. And that's how the Shimmering Twilight die set looks like in the end. I do really enjoy how they shimmer in the light. I don't think the effect is very visible on the camera, or not as impressive as it does look in real life. But yeah, no, it's just very pretty. It's this dark red and then turns bluish shimmer, and it's quite reflective as well. So I'm quite happy with the result. But nothing shows the result like a dice roll, so let's try to roll them. And there we go! If you enjoyed what you saw, please drop a like in the video, and if you have any suggestions or ideas, please drop them in the comment section below. We would love to read what you have to say. If you'd like to keep informed of what we do in the future, please subscribe to our channel. And with all that said, we'll see you in the next video. See ya!